the 30-man slayer!
Also known as the Bear Slaughterer.
Who is that?
He's still a kid.
No!
Wondering which one of you is stronger?
Would you consider serving me on a regular basis? A grunt during the war?
Don't touch me!
You know, he got plenty of money for defeating Pazuzu.
Just my imagination.
Bandits!
God, this guy's too damn powerful.
I'm gonna die!
I am Griffith. And you are?
I'm Guts.
Would you care to join me for a walk?
Who are they?
The Band of the Hawk. Ever heard of us?
The mercenary company known as Death on the Battlefield. Why didn't you kill me?
Because I want you to join me, Guts. You are fascinating. I find you much to my liking.
Lousy son of a... You started the fight!
What do you want, then?
That's simple. To settle this with sword.
What if I win?
Do whatever you want with me.
I rather enjoy settling things by force. Admit defeat, or I'll be forced to dislocate your shoulder. And so, now you belong to me, Guts. From now on, he's a member of the Hawks.
I lost. Damn it!
Are you serious about killing him, Corcus?
This bunch of idiots should be no problem.
He is still far beyond your skill level, even in his current condition. I hope you drop dead in battle.
The rear guard for tonight will be Guts, if you accept.
Is that an order?
It is. Fired! Disengage! Break for the castle! This is done!
No! They set fire to the engineer!
What are our losses?
Nothing serious. It's thanks to Guts.
I failed. Why did you come back here?
This is it. Disperse!
No!
Everyone, a toast to our brash new friend!
I will have my own kingdom.
Have his own kingdom. He isn't royalty or a noble. He's not even a knight. He's nothing more than the leader of a mercenary band. And yet, the way he stated it, as if it were his right.
Charge!
Gambino.
Hey, is it true that kid was born from a corpse?
Yeah.
Gambino! Gambino, no!
You should be dead, you little You kill her.
Gambino.
Get it! No one can survive that fall.
In this world, there must be one man whose preordained course of life is the key to ruling the world. Regardless of his existing social position or class, That man could be part of this world's true privileged class. That man could have the absolute power of a god. I know there's something more for me.
Guts, I heard that you were promoted to be the commander of the Raiders.
During the war, the death on the battlefield, known as the Hawks, increased their power many-fold, fighting on the side of Midland. 3 years have passed.
I'd give anything to the man who could stop the eternal march of Tudor's black devils.
Your Majesty, look!
Retreat! Retreat! Captain Guts, welcome back!
The whole army was afraid of you.
Pay respect to the distinguished serving self and soul.
No, we attack them from the front. The armory is our objective.
You son of a... Griffith! It's a trap! Get out of here now!
What?
Retreat! But Sir Adan! We lost the fort and all our supplies were destroyed!
Silence! Stop prattling, you beetle! Now, withdraw the troops!
Listen! Is everyone all right?
We didn't lose anyone.
All thanks to Guts. He saved us. Wow, that explosion was something else.
Midland's troops were no match for me.
Did you confirm that they were totally destroyed?
Of course I did. You buffoon!
They are alive.
Leave it to the Hawks? Yes. I will trust them with our next castle siege. Go send word to Griffith. When the preparations are complete, they will take the field. Sire. But due to one immensely powerful soldier, we cannot clear a path.
People say that Nosferatu Zodd sometimes fights among the enemy lines.
Zodd The Immortal?
Zodd The Immortal. He is well known and feared as a legendary fighter among mercenaries. They say that he's taken the heads of hundreds or even thousands in battle. But that's not the only reason why he is feared. Sometimes he returns to battle after reportedly being killed in a previous one. Believe it or not, he's been around for nearly 100 years as far as the accounts of his exploits go.
Let go of me, Gaston!
No way, Commander!
Those are my men in there, Gaston!
Zodd Immortal.
Did he say...
Hold on a minute! Commander!
Stay back!
Make sure no one follows me. I will settle this alone. It's a monster.
I'm going in. The rest of you wait here.
Why'd you come?
Guts! Let's get out of here!
The egg of the key, and this man's ambition crumbles. It is your destiny to face your death.
A demon!
Well, we wanted to visit Griffith.
We're not allowed.
That's it.
Where are you going? Wait a minute.
Hey, Griffith!
What the hell's your problem?
Why does Griffith value you so much?
I apologize about yesterday. I heard you all came to visit me.
Because she is my only daughter, I fear I've spoiled her.
Son
Such impudence! Hands on the princess!
Pardon my ill manners, Your Excellency Eurys.
Even the heavy-equipped golem knights failed to capture that castle. Don't say that.
Now it's our turn. We shall dispose of them.
It's the signal to move on to the next phase.
They've finally shown their faces. Fire the cannons into the center of their formation!
Sir, it is impossible to reach them at this distance.
It's time. Let's get moving.
Everyone, get out of sight, quickly!
The General will be visiting this castle about an important operation. Right away, sir! They snuck in from the rear gate, sir!
What was that?
Everyone, rush to the front of the castle! This is it!
I am always prepared. Remove your armor. You can all swim, vermin.
You did very well today.
I was just following your orders.
We did it!
First, I'll feed my stomach with a sumptuous meal, and then I'll have a well-deserved rest. Brain even capable of recognizing the importance of that fortress! Now go back and reclaim it. Sir!
Know the subjects, for they are your charge, and with due majesty advance the war.
Additionally, His Majesty highly appreciates that boy. That boy might become a general.
Ridiculous!
In the act of hunting, a little danger must always lie. Also the stray arrows that may have been launched at the beast. And a nastily poisoned stray arrow.
It would be a proper death for a man of common birth.
Do you dislike hunting?
Why do most men commit to such affairs that only result in bloodshed?
Griffith!
Griffith! Are you all right? Speak to me!
Why, it served as my shield.
All of the commoners began talking of him as a hero once the news got around.
How could any of us have possibly been able to foresee this
That's enough! Be gone!
Well, my friend, I want to ask you to kill a man for me.
You should just order me to do your bidding, without saying all that other crap.
That will be enough for today.
It has been a great strain on your father. Trying to raise you to be a great warrior all on his own isn't easy.
A remarkable tale.
They say you protected the princess's life with your own body. How brave you are.
My life is unimportant. All that matters is that Princess Charlotte is safe.
Intruder!
He saw me. I'm here.
Find the intruder! Don't let that thief out of the courtyard alive!
I bet Griffith's enjoying a succulent meal right about now.
Griffith.
I'm becoming quite tired.
Please, rest a moment here.
I'm sure your friends are equally as fascinated by you.
For me to call a man my friend, he must be equal to me in all respects.
Please, take this. Never before has the war made me feel so anxious and afraid. Please, Sir Griffith, be careful. Come back to me.
Charlotte!
Casca! Commander!
You're gonna get yourself killed!
Cut! No!
What made her think that she could fight with a fever? Women.
Where am I?
You're in a cave down by the river. Here, put this on. I've been wearing it. Don't worry, it's already dry. Why did you join the Band of the Hawk in the first place?
I was born in a small farming village deep in the mountains. The land was barren, and the crops were meager. But that didn't keep them from taxing us heavily for the war efforts, bleeding us dry and taking what little food we had. Frequently, we would eat nothing for 3 days at a time. Each winter, many villagers died of hunger. Because we were along the border, the village itself was often involved in skirmishes. We were forced to watch as they trampled our houses and destroyed our fields, powerless to protest. It was the same in other villages. We were used to it, having to watch our lives being destroyed over and over again. For us, it was just the way life was. Then, one day, a nobleman passed through our village, and it happened that I caught his eye. The nobleman offered to take me in as his servant. At first, my father hesitated, but later he accepted the offer. I understood why my father would give me, his youngest daughter, to this noble, and I accepted it. A young girl was of little use to the family, and food would go further with less mouths to feed. However... Looking back, I should have expected it. It seems so obvious to me now. It was absurd to think a nobleman would take the trouble to save a girl from a poor family out of pure kindness. Just a daydream of a naive mind. There is no choice. This is just the way things are. Thoughts like these help me deal with reality.
Do you think somehow you've been chosen by God just because you're a nobleman?
It was like a moment in a dream, unreal and divine. In his mercy, God had sent me a savior, an angel to defend me. And for a moment, that's what I honestly believed. But what the angel offered me was not the salvation I expected.
If you have something to protect, then take up the sword.
I was terrified. I don't know if he fell on the sword or if I stabbed him. Either way, I had killed a man. The stranger just looked at me knowingly and smiled. It was then that I fully understood the true depth of the lesson that I'd been given.
Griffith, we've cleared everything out.
Don't go! Please wait. What should I do now?
Do as you wish.
Please, I want to go with you!
No way. What do you take us for? We're not a band of thieves. We are collecting money and supplies so that we can raise an army.
We can't be dragging women and kids along for the ride.
You won't have to. If you teach me how to use a sword, then I'll fight. I beg you.
I think she's actually serious.
Even if it means your death. As I said before, you're free to do as you wish. You must choose which path to take, now that you know what it means to fight.
It was so little. A sword and a blanket is all that he gave me. But because of that one day, my life had been altered. Instead of waiting and enduring, I now fought for what I wanted. From then on, I absolutely worshipped him. I felt as though I was in a dream. An outcast band of commoners became an invincible army. It's miraculous the way we fought. And even more, our leader was young and still innocent. And his roots were as common as our own. A miracle. That's what Griffith was to me. Somehow, I managed to make myself a soldier. By then, the Hawks had become involved in a territorial dispute led by a certain local nobleman. This nobleman was well known and very wealthy. But he had an infamous and unsavory reputation due to his obvious preference of young boys. Officially, these boys were his hired servants. The truth of the matter, however, was he kept them to satisfy his urges. Their eyes were vacant and lifeless, filled with fear. I felt a chill run down my spine. Fear and hatred welled up inside me, and I was overcome with disgust, because I recognized in them what could have been my fate. It was the same hand that saved me then that he put on my shoulder that day. His touch never failed to calm my nerves. We saw many battles after that day. A young boy had joined us as a soldier.
Griffith,
What's that?
they were the boy's belongings.
Griffith?
He so badly wanted to be a knight. I remember this boy well. When he looked at me, his eyes filled with wonder, as though I were a hero. Was he happy, I wonder? He died while pursuing his dream. But I think it was my dream that killed him.
I've never seen a proud man's shoulders sink so low. Before that day, I had never seen Griffith depressed. From that moment on, Griffith seemed different to me. It was a few days after we had returned from that battle, after nightfall.
Griffith!
No! You cannot be serious.
Casca, why don't you join me?
Well, I'm not...
You think I'm disgusting.
I don't! Why
were you there last night?
I know. I took it the wrong way. It was something else. It was a meeting for the War Council, wasn't it? I mistook it.
No. There was no mistake.
Why would you do that with him?
For the money. Maintaining an army is quite costly. Soldiers, horses, provisions, and equipment. None of these are free. The Hawks will grow even larger, and so will their expenses. I must help my army grow, and that, I'm afraid, takes tremendous funds. So I found someone who is as interested in me as I am in his substantial fortune. So we have come to an agreement.
Even so, you can't! Why can't things just stay as they are? I know we could earn the money you need. We just have to keep winning.
That would take a tremendous amount of time, and the more battles we fight, the more people we lose.
You're thinking about that boy, aren't you, Griffith?
I'm not. I came to this conclusion rationally. Which is the lesser risk for me? Losing hundreds of my men in tens of battles? Or receiving what I need from some rich old man? Listen, Casca. I feel no responsibility to those comrades who've lost their lives in my service. Because they chose to fight those battles. Just as you chose. Just as I.
Griffith?
Just as I have chosen this. But if there is one thing I can do for them, for the dead, it is to win. And keep winning until I attain my dream. A dream they clung to and risked their lives for.
Griffith, stop it!
I can't just step over the bones of the dead in order to realize it. My dream is already smeared with blood. I don't regret, I don't feel guilty, but I'd rather sacrifice myself than watch any more innocent children die in the name of my dream.
Stop it! Please, stop it.
It's all right. It was nothing.
Griffith had already recovered himself by the time he put his hand on my shoulder. But the sadness wouldn't leave me. Griffith has a dream that he refuses to abandon, while most people have forgotten about their own dreams long ago. It is grand and it is pure, but it is a heavy weight for one man to carry, no matter how noble he is. And to make such a dream a reality, one must inevitably endure terrible things. He wasn't born strong, but because of his dream, he knows that he must be. I want to be by his side during every last moment. If he dedicates himself entirely to his dream, if he has to fight to forge his dream, then I want to be a sword for him. His strength during battle. I want to play that important role in the fulfillment of his dream. And once I believed that my wish would be granted.
Guts, what are you doing?
Why don't we look downstream from here?
We have no time to rest. We'll leave at nightfall.
I can still fight.
Run into the woods and escape.
Don't die!
You're messing with our only woman.
Unbelievable. Despite his wounds, he's beaten nearly half of my 100 men!
In this miserable place.
He's alone and outnumbered.
Let's move!
I'll make it.
Can this be real? There's at least 100 men.
Please stop shaking me.
Bed rest? At least the two of you are safely back. The nobles didn't quite agree with that course of action. Griffith really let them have it.
Those two are key to the Hawks. I will not give them up.
I think that 100 men is more than a fair exchange for 1 pack of magic medicine.
The pain is subsiding.
It's like each one of them has his or a small flame that he brings to the band of the Hawk.
Each man casts his own into the strongest fire of them all. A raging fire. That is Griffith.
It's because of me. I put Guts and his raiders in danger as well. Never punish. Idiots! What the hell are you doing?
Ah, shut up. The alcohol will disinfect me from the inside.
Nonsense! Do you really think you're capable of defeating them?
The Band of the Hawk alone will deal with this matter.
The occupational forces are 30,000 strong. You can't think they can be dealt with by a mere 5,000 men. That the Hawks commit themselves to Doldry.
It's a foolish thing for me as a man to say, and yet he seems as though he stepped forth from a painting.
Beyond all others.
Huh?
The White Hawk, Griffith. You will keep him alive and return him to me unharmed.
But, sir...
Remember, these are your orders.
First formation!
Crush that first formation into dust! Reportedly, he wiped out 100 mercenaries single-handedly.
My precious hawk is coming back to me.
Any man who succeeds in capturing him and be rewarded with whatever you wish!
Cleaning up the rear all by myself. They're taking the bait, just as Griffith predicted.
Everyone guarding the castle has gone to the front today.
General Bascon!
The General will do it. Stay out of it. We have no place in the middle of that fearsome battle.
A vile, revolting bat.
Get back! Look at that!
What is it?
For victory! Let them pass if they flee the battlefield, but should they resist, exterminate them all!
Everyone wait! You bad...
Standing. His Majesty seems to rely on him very much.
However, it appears that his survival skills within these castle walls will prove to be somewhat lacking.
Feel free to leave everything in my hands.
Your Majesty.
Look! Sir Griffith is so popular. All of the women are in a frenzy.
They would look down on you.
Welcome back, my lord.
It's so good to see you safe. We were ever so worried about you. You must be the strongest man in the Hawks. Oh.
That man stands out far too much. The stronger that any light shines, the darker the shadows around him grow.
Why don't you go ahead without me?
I shall personally knight all the commanders of the Hawks companies and raise them to peerage.
I can't believe this. We're going to...
General Griffith!
It's so easy.
Now, if you all will allow me to go...
Country would have considered us a...
The noble bloodline has been protected.
What?
Fire!
Death on the battlefield comes regardless of class, royal or common.
How?
I predicted that you would be my enemy on the morning before I was last sent to the battlefield.
His eyes just met mine for a moment.
Come along, Minister. I will give something back to you.
Daddy!
You are safe.
Don't hesitate to contact us should you need anything further.
If he decides not to employ us, we'll blackmail him.
It's finished. A dead man like you shouldn't be hanging around here all night.
Where is she going so fast?
The bathroom. They can't just go anywhere like we can.
I can't live under the weight of his dream any longer. Buried by it. You and Griffith live well.
Please, give us your company for just a moment.
Maybe Griffith will be able to stop him.
Soon, we will be recognized by them as nobles. Of course, none of this should even be possible. Am I right? And you're prepared to give all this up?
There is no one in the world I respect more than him. No more will I be anything less to Griffith than his equal.
If wanting was enough to make something happen, we'd all be kings.
Thanks for coming. This is far enough. Thanks for everything.
Draw your sword and take your freedom from me.
What has gotten into you? Stop this!
Live by the sword and die by it.
Farewell.
Come in. I missed you so much. Lord Griffith! Griffith?
Seize that man!
Grandpa Goda was right after all. Don't worry, Erica. Guts will be back.
Sorry, but I need you to rework this for me.
Are you ready?
Go!
The sparks. I like seeing sparks.
I will seek, and sparks will light my path. Thanks for your help.
You live in my house for a whole year, and that's all you have to say to me. Don't waste your life.
Make as many swords as you can, as fast as you can. Of course, I'll pay generously. Some easy money.
Bandits on the run?
Band of the Hawk, led by the woman Commander Casca!
Why, we're gonna go to the castle and get Griffith back!
Enemy way!
Commander.
He's back. The one that killed 100 men?
Raiders! Retreat! Pull back your men!
Commander! Commander Guts!
He's back! I knew it! I never stopped believing you'd come back someday!
1 year ago, we had all gathered under Griffith's order. We waited around for him and thought nothing of it. Suddenly, arrows came pouring down like rain. Griffith had been arrested and charged with high treason. It happened the day after you left. From that point on, Casca has led the Hawks.
See, I've been ordered by our king to keep you around at least another 3 years. But I don't know. I like you.
Because you walked out on us! And you turned your back on Griffith!
The Griffith I remember would never let that stop him. What was I supposed to do?
But it doesn't matter anymore. Watch them for me, please.
I'll help you rescue Griffith. But when that's done, I must continue my journey. You could come with me. I want to keep holding you.
back to Midland and return with Griffith alive! Thank you. We'll take it from here.
Griffith. Casca! Give me the key!
Is this your doing?
Indeed.
Put down your weapons and surrender!
Hurry!
If they let them slip away with Griffith, the king will show us no mercy!
No! We've made it!
The reception with arrows.
Don't move! The band of the Hawk is...
Griffith, let's change your bandages.
We all decided that we're coming with you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Commander! Take us with you, Commander!
Yeah, take us with you.
Why don't I ever realize what I have until it's lost to me?
Griffith! Even if you're alone.
There's still time to play.
Griffith! Go tell the others! Move it!
You were dreaming about the old days again, weren't you?
He who possesses it shall conquer the world in exchange for his flesh and blood.
The solar eclipse. We're in trouble.
Guts! Get Griffith on your horse!
Right. Griffith.
What is that?
You are the chosen one.
Sacrifice.
You have all been gathered as a sacred offering. He will be reborn, but only by his own choosing, and all of you will die. It is his will.
Impossible!
But ma'am, this is terrible.
You're on your way to the castle to become a king, aren't you? I want to be a knight someday. See?
My hand! There's nothing I can give back to the dead to undo what I have done.
I submit.
We don't belong here.
Is it true? Do you really want this?
Get going!
You're our leader now! You must survive!
Judo! Get off me, you fool!
I haven't really thought that carefully about what I said.
Commander! Gaston!
You're still alive. Griffith.